Yeah, thank you very much. Today we are joined by the SRC sitting president, President Muafrika Tito. He's going to introduce himself, but as always, my name is Bafana Gift Mulego. The name remains the same, it never changes. Welcome to Student TV. From now and then, we're going to be having interviews to make sure that we put at par students' issues. We make sure that we deal with everything that then hampers with student governance. We deal with everything, or we assist students to get information that relates to their academics and everything related to that. So today we have then decided that our interview is going to be with the current sitting SRC president, Mr. Tito, who's going to then brief us or tell us more. But let me not get into details. He will then introduce himself. After introducing himself, he'll further elaborate on other issues that will be then unfolding during the program. Thank you very much. President Tito.
No, thanks, my brother. Greetings to everyone who's watching. My name is Nhlaiso Tito Ndlovu, the current president and a member of PASMA in good standing, and one of the few Pan-Africanists on campus. Thank you.
Yes, no, thank you, Africa. Isolate.
Africa.
Thank you. So today, President Tito, we have quite a number of issues that students have been raising in terms of what is happening with the NSFAS. Those students were previously funded and now they're defunded. What is the plan? What's the way forward? How are the students going to be assisted? And now again, we are going into a situation whereby the university has open applications. We have students that don't know hows and don'ts on how to apply for an NSFAS, because you get that the student has applied for an NSFAS previously, but later on we find that the NSFAS is not approved. So we'll just want to find out what are the challenges that the SRC faced this year in terms of dealing with the NSFAS students, and have they managed to solve those particular issues?
No, thanks, my brother. Firstly, I would like to speak on students that were defunded by the NSFAS, because on this basis there are many issues around that one. One is that students or the university didn't submit, an updated list with their results and everything to the NSFAS head office. So such students, most of them were affected by this quagmire. But what we managed to do as the SRC was to be in contact with the head office of NSFAS. I remember we were suspended, but Comrade Tower and the DSG were part of that meeting with NSFAS, wherein we forced the COO to actually take a list from our side, because we had about, I think, 1,000 plus students that were affected by such. So NSFAS at this point, they're still pushing to say they're going to try and accommodate the students, but we'll be meeting up with the COO, I believe sometime next week, before the end of the semester, of course, so that they get the money for the first semester, and they get to get their book allowances going to the next semester up until the end of the academic year. But however, with NSFAS having head offices in Cape Town has been a challenge, and we've called also the Department of Higher Education and Training to say it is time now to decentralize NSFAS provincially first up until regional level, understanding also that NSFAS is much more of a SASA to us, children of the marginalized, black students in particular, so that it must operate at that level, that it is actually students have access to these institutions of NSFAS, like your SASA. How you run SASA must be actually how they run NSFAS. So the challenge now is that everything must go to Cape Town, understand? Hence there's a slow pace of responses, because it's TVETs and universities, and we know how many universities, how many campuses are in the country, more than 30, I believe. So those are the challenges we're facing, but there will be a delegation from VUT that will visit NSFAS offices to actually wrap up the matter and further influence, the department to decentralize NSFAS across all 9 provinces. I believe on the defunding part, that's where we are, because students have proven more than beyond reasonable doubt, that they're poor, they can't afford, then they must be assisted. Remember, we have the issue of 2017, the close-out migration students, which are still affected up until today. Some haven't received any money, and NSFAS hasn't responded to the list of these students who submitted to them. But however, we are working very hard to say the COO, the new CEO of NSFAS, the new board of NSFAS, led by Mr. Ernest Khoza, to say, view it as this crisis, please make it a case study. Issues of NSFAS must be centered around beauty, and they have agreed to assist us in that level. But it's we must push, we must actually push also the university to commit in assisting these students, because it's not their fault. It's not their fault that you have been giving them money, but at a later stage you are telling them that NSFAS is not funding them. So that's where we are actually. We are now in communication with NSFAS more than the institution, because the institution actually has not been helpful. Understand me, brother? So we're in communication with NSFAS offices on a daily basis, actually, as the SRC, trying to get assistance and making sure that these students are covered.
Yeah. No, thank you, President. From my understanding, it's a work in progress type of a situation. You are still dealing with these issues, but I think it's quite a great idea that you have taken initiative of making sure that you engage the NSFAS offices to make sure that they come on board to decentralize, because the main issue here, I feel like if maybe we had offices in Vanderbilt Park of the NSFAS, it would have been quite easy for the SRC to then access these particular things. We've also encountered a number of situations, President General, in terms of students who are struggling with the online learning, mainly because of the MESA laptops that they've been given by the institution. And there was a contradiction. I don't know whether should I then say it's a contradiction or it's a quagmire, because there are students that are given MESA laptops, there are students that are given Lenovo laptops, but these particular students, the only thing that differentiates them, it's their courses, and which is a problem, because you'd find, or at the end of the day, the same students of IT, the same student of policing, they're still doing the same assignments. You get me? Same number of assignments, just that an IT student does programming, does Java. Remember to like and subscribe our channel, Student TV, your only live to student and campus information. Yes, like I was saying, President, there are issues of those NSFAS students that are then suffering in the current state because of these MESA and the Lenovo laptops. So what is your take as the SRC on this particular matter?
One, we have called for equality in terms of how students are treated in general across the country, to say if you give one the other, and these laptops, you must remember, they vary in terms of prices, but what we have found out is that on ITS they're charged the same. So we have raised it, but unfortunately, I believe you understand now the current state of the university without council, wherein such decisions, such issues must be discussed so that they are resolved and students get the best services. Everyone deserves a Lenovo laptop, I must say, a Comrade gift. And the university took a stance in terms of acquiring these laptops outside the leadership. Remember, this process started last year when there was no SRC. And at that point, when we came into power, we tried to intervene on saying, okay, but why are you doing this? Why are you now actually discriminating and dividing students, whereas you are charging the same price? We never got the responses always. We raised it with NSFAS. NSFAS says it's the institution that procures these laptops. So it's a back and forth, kind of situation. But however, we're still going to pursue this issue. And we believe that students must get these laptops for free. Remember, the minister late last year announced that there will be some sort of, what can I say, it's a funding of some sort that they've set up to assist students, particularly NSFAS beneficiaries, because we understand their poor, understand? So they must be given these laptops for free. But again, you find, with these things of hierarchy and bureaucracy in terms of power within the department, the department says this, you go to your institution, they say something that is left, you understand? So there is some sort of misunderstanding between the three institutions, which is DHET, NSFAS, and our institution. But however, we're still trying to find the logic behind to say why are we not all getting Lenovo's, you understand? Which is because the Mesa laptop has many problems, you know. Many students actually couldn't use those laptops for more than 3 months, whereas the Lenovo laptops have much more, actually have been working, you know. Students have been utilizing them for so much up until this year. So, and also on the issue of returning laptops and the fixing of laptops which need to be fixed. Some issues are issues of screens. The space also is a critical issue, because even if you are a policing student, you still have to load your assignments. And the Mesa laptop actually is, I'm not sure of the gigs, but it's very small. Cannot accommodate work for even a semester, you understand? Because, you know, with us in this education sector, what you do in the first semester actually has an influence in the next semester. So those are the issues. But I believe the university made a mistake by procuring these laptops outside any student leadership. You know, there was no consultation on how do we go about this matter. And what we're saying to students that we're pursuing it, the university must just commit to say, okay, all Mesa laptops must be for free in this place. Actually, all laptops all around, they must be given for free. Because we had an issue again this year wherein students couldn't, some received their full amount of book allowances, some did not, whereas the very same students took laptops. So there is actually a lot of issues happening around there, and no one is willing to account to say, okay, we are the ones who decided on this, you know. So it's always finger pointing, no, it's NSFAS, no, it's DHET, no, it's your institution. So we are still trying to find a way on who must be held accountable for the procurement of those laptops.
Okay. No, thank you for that particular clarity, President General. You know, I believe the gadget must also be prioritized in terms of the issues being attended to, President. And one particular thing that also hampers with the assignment of students, I mean, it means education then in beauty, it's not fairly and being given to students. There's no fairness in the process of executing education to students if those particular gadgets that play a vital role in making sure that students, they get to learn and learn effectively, so are not then prioritized. So with that being said by you, President, we believe that such an issue will be then dealt with. Another thing that we've recently seen from the communique of the SRC, coming from the Secretary General's office, was that you as the SRC, you have advocated for students who have gotten less than 50% in their tasks to then be given a reassessment. I don't know around how that issue works and for which course that is applied for, and which particular students are going to be able to access that particular advantage, or for which year is it going to apply? Is it this particular academic year or the following semester? What happens around the issue, President?
On that issue, you know, what happened, we engaged management to say, with all the COVID, you know, actually around our campus, you know, that side of main gate, there was an issue of electricity for more than a month or two. Understand? This side of Bedwell, there were issues. So we engaged them to say, let us adjust the reassessment policy so it must accommodate everyone. Actually, there are no chosen courses, and we have said that through the SG statement, of course, to say if ever there is a lecture that is reluctant in terms of saying I'm not going to give out reassessments, that lecture must be reported to the SRC. The entire 16 is actually on par with that issue, and all of us actually are advocating for students. We've been assisting a lot of them actually. Even now I was assisting students of applied sciences regarding this issue of reassessments, and which will mean that the institution must actually stretch, you know, the end of the semester. So if students have not been granted, I mean, from next week also we must be having reassessments up until everyone is covered. And also you had raised, I didn't respond, I think, on the issue of registration. What happened was that there is someone who released false information. We were at CW yesterday, and I can confirm that they are still creating a link for 2022. If you check the link that was distributed among students or general public, when you click it, it says 2021 application. So it was someone who was actually, I don't know the excitement, what was behind that excitement, but it's actually false information. The link is still under construction as we speak, member. Understand? Yeah.
No, thank you very much, President, and for clarifying the issue of that particular link that is out. So everyone who has then used the previous links, to all our matric potential students that have used the particular link, trying to apply to become students in VUT, please note that the link that is out currently, it's not valid. We'll put it down on our screens, and as soon as we have the valid ones, it's when we'll then give it out and make sure that everyone has access to education of higher learning, the system of higher learning. And one last question, President. Can you please give us an overview or the word of encouragement to students, or what are the issues that you'd like students to come on board if they're having? What are the issues that you've been solving? What is your plan moving forward in office as the President General, and how are you have been assisting students in terms of their academics and other issues, academic support, since this particular COVID has affected us, and how is the SRC intervening to ensure that these particular comrades at home are then properly taken care of academically? There's enough academic support and everything else.
No, okay. Look, I want to be honest. You understand? I wouldn't want to lie and mislead students, because COVID actually has even affected us in terms of our programs regarding academic support. You understand? Making sure that students of VUT are employable, be it your seminars or you bring in your companies. You know, such programs have stopped. Even from the university side, you know, your tutoring has stopped because of lack of access to venues, you know. And as such is to say that what we do is that we communicate with students over our phones, of course, but we try our level best. The entire 16 tries their level best, and also we must remember they must also commit to their academics. But however, it is to say to students that you know, the current state, you know, requires one to be patient, two to be strong, you know, in order to pursue their academics. And for students that wish to be part of VUT, we encourage them to perform well academically, because if we now things have changed, the requirements are much more higher, so it demands students to push regardless of the conditions, because we know where we come from. There's no electricity, we are squashed like sardines where we come from. But however, we must pull through so that as children of the marginalized, you know, previously disadvantaged, we get access to our education so that we can have an impact on the livelihood of our families and people around our societies. So we encourage students to actually, potential students, to study hard and focus. You know, the closure of your alcohol gives you an opportunity to focus on your schoolwork, so that you can access institutions of higher learning across the camp. So I believe those are the words of encouragement that I can actually give to potential students. To our students that are on campus, we know we have heard that, you know, every time when you are in governance, there's this, you know, students are dissatisfied there and there. We take it, we take critics, because they build us, you know, in terms of our leadership and growth. We take critics, and we appreciate to be criticized, so that we can improve where we are lacking, so that we can grow where we are lacking. So we are trying our level best, to be honest, to assist everyone, you know, with the agency that their problems require. We try to push, but and I want to put it out there that there are many hindrances since COVID has happened. You know, COVID has placed us under immense pressure from our side, because some of us, most of us that have been here, we don't believe in engaging through emails. We prefer direct confrontation, when there are issues. But the university took a policy of a 50% in, 50% out, wherein employees are not on campus. Understand? So it has actually put us under immense pressure on that level, because now we must communicate with someone over an email.